Boxing Source here, and I got this video because I have been notified of an article that was posted on BoxingScene in reference to some news in reference to Deontay Wilder, man. And this is something that, was initially rumored not that long after Deontay Wilder's lost to Tyson Fury in the 7th round in that rematch, February 22nd, 2020 in Las Vegas, right? We know about the situation, about how the fight was stopped, okay? And that word came out that a particular person was the one that threw in the towel to stop the fight of Deontay Wilder against Tyson Fury, giving Tyson Fury the win, handing Deontay Wilder his first professional loss, and Tyson Fury becoming the WBC heavyweight champion of the world. Now, here we are on October 2nd, 2020, and we have the news about the split. So it says that this is, through Mr. Dan, that Mark Breland, who has served as Deontay Wilder's co-trainer for his entire 12-year professional career, will no longer be a part of his team as Wilder prepares for a third fight against heavyweight champion Tyson Fury. Quote, that was the decision that was made, unquote, from Shelly Finkel, who's Wilder's co-manager. That's what he told BoxingScene today, or to pretty much Dan today. Right? After his next fight, it will be determined if the right decision was made or not. Now, there was, I think it was, back in July or something like that, where Deontay Wilder was on, I think, pretty much was a PBC podcast, right? And he said that there were some weeds, pretty much some weeds in the garden. That he had to take out the weeds in the garden, or basically in his camp. And that, got people talking to say, okay, who is it that he's, pretty much getting rid of? But the news of having Mark Breland leaving was obviously a concern to me, pretty much after that fight, because I really don't buy into JDs as a trainer. Never have. Mark Breland had been a, decorated amateur, been in the Olympic team, had a career there in the professional ranks. A tall, lanky guy. That was, pretty much a matchup issue for many in the professional ranks, but wasn't as successful as people would have thought it would be. But he was somebody that could, get Deontay Wilder to use his frame, his height and his frame and his reach in order to, develop a, strategy or style. Now, he does have like some type of keep away style and things like that, but he hasn't been able to develop that into more of a offensive repertoire. So I thought that Mark Breland would do more with Deontay Wilder, but here we are, and this is October 2nd, 2020, 12 years after Deontay Wilder was able to get a bronze medal in the Summer Olympics. And now we're pretty much around what I would say, 2 months away, so to speak, where his fight against Tyson Fury is supposed to happen. It's slated for, I would say, December 5th or December 12th. They don't want to have it in December 19th. We know about that news, that they did want to put it on that day due to college football having their conference championships during that particular day, right? So now if we do have this third fight on December 12th or December 5th, then right now we're going to have about 8 weeks before that fight takes place. But having Mark Breland part ways with Deontay Wilder at this particular juncture, unless if somebody else of his caliber or of his level is on the camp for Deontay Wilder, I'm not sure how this is going to turn out for him in his third fight against Tyson Fury. People got to realize that, Tyson Fury defeated him soundly in that second fight. And while it had been said that Deontay Wilder would have been ready for the third fight when it was originally scheduled for July, having this particular news come down with the departure of Mark Breland from Deontay Wilder's camp, kind of says that there's still, people that have, their mouths moving in Deontay Wilder's ear. And I kind of saw that right after the fight ended on February 22nd. You really kind of heard much from, JD's and Shelly Finkel off of that. You really didn't hear much about Mark Breland. They blamed everything on Mark Breland and that type of stuff. And I was like, that's not a good look right there. Sometimes you do have to get your fighter out of there if they're not, doing very well in the fight. And that's what happened against Tyson Fury on February 22nd. So you got to have that, even though Deontay Wilder vehemently disagreed with the stoppage, which was interesting because in the previous video months ago, I've said that Deontay Wilder brought up the thing in reference to safety and how the sport is dangerous when he had his fight against Dominic Brazil. So fast forward to February 22nd, he's, upset about the stoppage. But if you're not doing that well, if you're, having balance issues around the ring, then you really couldn't do that much against someone like Tyson Fury. So now here we are, October 2nd, 2020, supposedly 8 weeks until this next fight takes place. It's supposed to be in Las Vegas at the Allegiant Stadium. But now with this news coming from Dan Rayfield through BoxingScene that Mark Breland is not in the camp of Deontay Wilder anymore. And that is a very interesting thing to say the least. If they just run with JD's and he goes into this rematch against Tyson Fury, I don't know what else he would have that would make it a significant change from February 22nd, 2020 up until this particular point. And also, you have to take into effect that they said that Deontay Wilder had an arm injury suffered during that particular fight. So if that's the case, how much has he been in camp and working on doing things to fight Tyson Fury? But we'll see how this works out. But Mark Breland, no longer a part of Deontay Wilder's camp. You can subscribe to the Boxing Source here on YouTube and also catch the Boxing Source radio show live Sunday, 7:30, Blog Talk Radio. It's on iTunes. It's on Google Podcasts. It's on Spotify. It's on whatever you use for podcasts. That's all I got in reference to this particular topic. I'm out. Peace.